So, good afternoon all of you. In the last class, we have started with our first experiment, needs and requirements in scientific computing, familiarization of programming language, Python, familiarization of data type in Python. These are the three topics I believe that we have covered in the last class. In this class, we will be studying how to use while loop, for and if statements and other basic syntax. Okay. So in the last class we did not see list, tuples and dictionaries, am I right? Did we study what are lists? No. We have seen these data types, I believe, integers, float, strings and boolean, am I right? Today I'll give you an introduction to what are lists, what are tuples and dictionaries. In many of our mathematical calculations, we may need to use a collection of data. Okay, we may need to use different types of data put together under a variable. So a list is a collection of data that we are going to use, and I'll teach you how to create lists and how to use lists in Python. We have already got some introduction to for loop, I believe, for and while loop, right? Did we do any programs on for and while loop? No. Yes or no? No. So today we'll get introduced to for loops, while loops, if statements and lists and so on, so many things. Okay, list, tuples and dictionary. This will be the agenda for our session today. I will teach you the entire thing and then I'll leave it to you. Then you have to do your programs and practice. All these materials are provided in PDF format in the classroom. I want you to just check it out and then start doing the examples one by one and learn yourself. Okay. So let us start first by creating a list. To create a list, what we'll do is that we'll use the square brackets. Okay. So let me put a name for the list. Let me name a variable A is equal to, say I can give multiple data types here, okay. I'll put your name Srijit Balaji, okay, here. This is one. Second thing is his roll number. It can be a string. All these things are strings. Okay, tell me your roll number. ATP 23 easy 048. Next thing I want to ask you, I'll imagine that you got 89.97 marks in some subject. Okay. And then so it means that you are pass. Okay. Let me call this as some subject name. Tell me some of the subjects you are studying this semester. LCD. Let me put it as LCD. Okay. So let me put it as LCD for the time being. So I put it as LCD. LCD is a list. This list contains the name of the student, his roll number, his marks, and whether he has passed or not. Now let me know how I will know that this is a list. What is the type of LCD? It will take some time for processing the first line. From then onwards it will become much more faster. So no, this is a tuple here. And this is a list here. Let me copy this. This is going to be a list. Okay. In the list I can do so many functions. I can iterate over the list. I can print all the elements of the list. I can take out each number, I can append, I can delete and so on. I cannot do certain of these things in tuples. Okay, there are some differences. list is mutable, but tuples are immutable. As we go on, I'll teach you all these things with examples. Now, first thing what you have learned now is that you can declare a list. How to create a list? Okay, you can create a list with a collection of data. It can be of any data type. It can be multiple data types. Here we have strings, we have boolean, we have float, we can have integers or whatever we like. If I want to write the name of the, so if I put LCD of 0, I'll get the first element in a list. Okay. If I put LCD of -1, I'll get the last element in the list. Okay. If I want to iterate through the list, I can use a for loop very easily. For L in LCD, this is enough, nothing else. Okay. LCD of L, this is more than enough. I should do something now. Print LCD of L. This L, no, right. List indices must be integers or slices, not the range length of LCD. Okay, the error I got was because I was trying to use the elements as a string, because this L is a string, not the index. So if I can put simply L, it will be correct, na? If I put simply L without anything else, it should be correct, now. You got the point? L means I'll get the index of this, right? So it starts from 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now how I can do this? I can do like this also. Okay. So this is how we iterate through the list. So now so far, I believe that you have understood how to create a list, how to go through the list, right? So next thing what you have to see is how to add an element to the list. Now I wanted to add an element, say LCD dot append. When I put append is a method, there will be a function, that will be something that is being added to the end of the list. Okay, so I am putting here, say for example 23, an integer, which is because there is no integer here, or say let me put it as 75. Let me consider this to be an attendance percentage or something like that for the subject. Okay, and now simply write LCD after appending. So I got the 75. The next thing I can say, last element of this one. What is the last element of LCD? We get it as 75. This is how we append an element to the list. I'll teach you. Okay, so you know how to create a list, you know how to iterate through the list, go through all the elements in the list, and then how to append, add elements to the list. These are a reference. This is the, so these are some examples of lists that I've created. One, college can have a list of students, staff, teachers, all are strings. Student can have another, we can create a student list with names. So this is the way we declare a list. List name is like how you create all the variables. We have certain conditions that how we are going to create variables. We cannot create variables with keywords. We cannot create certain, all the variables should begin with an alphabet and so on. But those things are not that, things that you need to learn, that we'll be learning through our experience by writing more number of programs. Okay. So you can create a list very easily. If you want to create a list that contains all the values, numbers from 1 to 100, what you can do is that, say L is equal to list of, okay, range 1 to 101. So what will happen? These are all highly required for our electronics and communication projects. You may need to create random numbers, you may need to, but usually we don't do with this, we go with numpy. We have another package called as numerical Python. Most of our programs, I'll be giving an introduction, we'll be doing some programs even in this lab on numpy and SkyPy. Most probably we'll be using that. You need to understand lists also. There might be situations where you need to use list. Okay, so this is from range 1 to 100. No, 1 to, so if you need up to 100, you need to put up to 101. It starts from 1 and it ends to n minus 1 or n here. If it is n plus 1 here, it is n. Now if I print L, I'll get the values only up to, so sorry. You don't need to specify the end custom. Range. There is a small change because the change in the version in Python. Okay, so you get a list of range from 1 to 100. Now, if you put L of 10, what you will get? There's a small change in the version. Okay, previously it was working there. I'll just check it out and I'll get back to you on that. So you can create lists from range. Let me check why this is not working. Python list from range. Okay, okay. There is no need of. Okay. Okay. So previously we need to use what is called as typecasting because I wanted to change from one type to other. Say for example, I am putting S is equal to 100. Now this type of this will be string. Type of S will be string. Now I can convert this very easily by what is called as typecasting, wherein I am converting this string to an integer. Okay. So now if you would like to create a list, earlier there was some confusion in this, let me clear it out once again, let me teach you from the beginning once again. If you want to create a list of numbers by using the range function, let me say list L1 is equal to now range of 1 to 100. This means I am creating a list L1 which has values 1 to 99. Okay. If I am putting it as 101, I'll get all the values from 1 to 100. Okay. And you should always keep in mind that the last number is 100 and not 101. And now if I want to pick out any of these, L1 of 9, L1 of 9 is 10. Okay. So this is how we create a list from a range function. And here, yes, this is how we create a list from a range function. Now you can also use like this. Say I wanted only two, say the length of this will be how much, what will be the length of L1? If you want to find the length of a list, you can use length function len, which will give the total values. Okay. So length will be 100. Suppose okay, so this is what about range. Suppose I wanted to create with a gap of two numbers, 1 to 100, 1, 3, 5 and so on. I can include this as another. See, all these things are functions. Range is a function or a method, right? And these things are called as arguments. What are arguments and keyword arguments? I will be teaching you in detail in the coming sessions. So now when I put this, what is the length? 50. What is L1? 1, 3, 5 and so on, right? Because it is in the gap of two numbers each. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on. Okay. So these are multiple ways of creating a list of numbers. We can create list of random numbers and so and so and so. Okay. So there is a function called as randint. How to create random numbers. All these functions are extremely important because we will be doing so much of simulation projects where we need to create random numbers. We need to create random lists. We need to create so much of situations in our this thing, no? In our programs where we need to create a set of sample random numbers. So random is a very important thing. We have a function called as, we have a package. What is package in Python? I'll teach you as we go on. Package means you have a set of values You can import and export packages. You have lot of functions inside the packages. You have so much of methods. I'll teach you how to create your own packages, how to create your own classes, how to create your own methods, and all these things I'll be teaching you as we go on. Okay. So now, let me say there is a package called as random. Okay. So from random, what I'm doing is I'm importing another method called as randint, 1 to 100. Now what it will do, it will pick an integer randomly from 1 to 100. Now this time when I'm running, I'll get 18. Next time when I run, I'll get something else. Okay, is it okay? So random and randint for creating random numbers from a range. When I say randint, it means integers. Okay, random is also there. Another one function called as random. Random, you will get a random number picked up from somewhere. Okay, you don't need to specify any ranges, you get randint. This is how you generate random numbers. As we go on, we will be learning how to generate a list of random numbers. We will be using this in so many other places and so on. Now, what happens when you add two lists? This is one important thing that you need to study. You have two lists, list 1 and list 2. Let me use that list 1 to be 1, 2, 3, 4, list 2 to be 5, 6, 7, 8. When you add list 1 plus list 2, you won't get 6, 8, 10, 12. But instead you will get 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. The numbers or the elements of the list don't get added up, but you have one list plus this list gets list 1 gets appended with list 2. That's what happens when you add two lists. So let me show you with an example. I'll call this as L1. L1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and L2 is equal to 5, 6, 7, 8 and L1 plus L2. What it comes, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'll tell you there is another one package called as numpy, as I told you already. We'll use numpy to add these numbers. If you want a list or if you want an array of the sum of these two things, 1 plus 5 plus, for that we'll go with numerical Python or numpy arrays. But numpy arrays, one problem or one disadvantage, you can call it as a disadvantage, but it is designed like that, is that you cannot use multiple data types, only one data type. Integer means integers, float means float. You can add these two things only, so that it's not, see, when I put a string here, it doesn't look proper. Now you cannot add it, right? If you wanted to add it, so it gives you some kind of error. So are you all clear with lists? Same way you multiply a list into 2, you won't get 2 into 5, but you will get the same numbers repeated twice. When I say 2 into L1, what I'll get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 again and again. Is it okay? This is how lists work. Okay, anything else to be discussed in list? I believe that everything is over. Next, tuples. Tuples are similar and almost same as list, but the only difference is that the tuples are immutable. It is not, contents of a list can be modified, but when it comes to a tuple, it is difficult or it is not possible to modify the contents of the elements. So now, how I'll show you that we have already created the tuple now. Now see how to change the contents of a list. I think somebody asked me about how to change the contents of a list. Now say if I wanted now, let me say code. Let me go down. Here, let me type LCD. So this is the list LCD which we have created. I wanted to change Srijit Balaji to somebody else. Who should I change? Sriram, eh? Okay. So I'll make it as Sriram. I don't know about the spelling. So I put that LCD of 0. Okay. Doesn't matter. These are simple examples. Okay. And when I type this, when I print this LCD, I get Srijit Balaji replaced by Sriram. This is how you have to change anything in between. Anything you wanted to change, any value you wanted to change in between, you can do that.
So to add another element to the middle of the list.
You have to append, you have to go through that entire iteration. Not the entire iteration, whichever place you want. Right?
Like append 89 bracket position. Yeah.
No, you have to select the point. You can't put position. This is how you change the elements of the list in between. Okay. So tuples you can't do like that. Now if I make here, I made a tuple right here. So where I made a tuple. No? That's gone. So now let me make a tuple here. Okay. Let me call this as something else. Give me the name of something else, some other subject you tell me. SSD. SSD, and I'm creating a tuple. Okay. In tuple, I'm giving his name Shekhar Mohanty here. He is the only student in your class who I know. Others I don't know. Mohanty, I'll put some marks for him. What is your roll number? False. Vanda. Roll number Vanda. I'll put something else. So this is a tuple. This contains these three values. The same way like how you are going to access the list, you are going to access tuple. Rest of everything is same except that you cannot change it. SSD of 0, I cannot put it as B. What error I'll get? I'll get tuple object does not support item assignment. That means I cannot change the values in tuple. Tuples are designed like this because in most cases, no, we wanted to use, suppose you wanted to draw a 3D coordinate geometry, you wanted to draw graph. These things cannot, you should not, there might be situations where this should not be changed. As we go on, we have so much of real-time examples in communication engineering where we wanted things not to be changed. So in that case, we'll be using tuples. Are you all clear with tuples and lists? Any doubts in tuples or any doubts in lists? No. So next is something that very simple, you know all these things. Instead of using indexes, what we'll be using is that we'll be using a key and a value pair. Okay. So dictionaries are something that is being generated by using or declared by using a curly braces. And I'll give this to be name. And then you have to give a colon. Then I'm giving name to be Not Mohanty. What is your name? I'll give some other name. Sri Vishnu. How do you spell it? Sreevishnu. So let this be Sri Vishnu, and I'll call the other one to be marks, and I'll give this value to be, say, something like 50, not 50, 98.6 or 7, something like that. And see, the next one is automatically being generated by our AI system. Pass equal to true. Pass equal to true. Right? Here I forgot a comma. That's why I'm getting an error. Okay. So the rest of them we don't need. This is all AI generated, which we did not have when we were learning program. Now when I run this, what I'll get this students declared, because I'm not giving any output, so nothing will be there. Now how to access this, students of name. What is that? Sri Vishnu. Okay. So now I'm giving another one, second name. I'm adding another one, is equal to. What is your nickname? I'll put it as 3. Okay. So now when I put students, I'll get, see, second name as 3. Understand? So it is very easy to happen. Usually these are used for contacts. Say in your mobile phones you have a contact name and the number and other details, all these things. So we access a dictionary by a key value pair. Okay. You know how to declare a dictionary, you know how to use the elements of a dictionary, how to add elements, how to use this thing, and so on. Am I right? Any clarifications regarding dictionaries? Is it clear? So tuples is done. Dictionaries examples I've given in your, this PDF is shared to you in your classrooms. You can take it up. And this one is there. Integers, floats, examples of integers, examples of floats, examples of strings. All variables are there. All examples are given to you. While, for, and if statements. I think while statement we have already seen. So these are the outputs. Okay. All these things are shared with you in your classroom. All these materials are available. Otherwise, if you have not got it, you can ask me. We'll just give a comment or so. This is an example of a while loop. Okay. While true means I'm creating an infinite loop. As long as it is true, it will be working. So what happens is that whenever you create an infinite loop, you should be very sure that you should use break or continue statements. Break statement especially. Continue statement means the loop gets continued, but stops with that particular statement. Break statement is used to bring something out of the loop. There are two important statements. One is continue and other one is break. Okay. Continue statement, the loop, it goes to the next loop. But break statement, it comes out of the loop. Whenever you use infinite loops, you must use break statement, otherwise your system will get collapsed. Okay. Is that clear? Any doubts with continue or break statement? You want me to show some examples? So these are the exercises that I expect you to complete it today itself. You need to do some programs and check it out whether, say, a given number is given to you, you have to check whether the number is odd or even. A program to check whether a number is a valid mobile number or not. I'll give you two more problems. One thing is that I want you to check whether a number is an Armstrong number or not. What is an Armstrong number? The sum of the cube of its digit is equal to its number. Okay? An Armstrong number is a number whose sum of its digits is equal to the same number. Can you give me an example? Can you give me an example? 407. What is 4 cube?
64.
What is 4 cube plus 7 cube?
Four or seven.
407. So 407 is a Armstrong number. Similarly, you have 153 also. Yes. Since I am lazy, I am doing it like this. You should not do like this. You have to
153.
153. Sorry. 153 is an Armstrong number. So I want you to do a Python program to check whether a given number is an Armstrong number or not. And then you have to do all these exercises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And these exercises should be done and written and recorded in your records.